All right, good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody is well. I hope you had a good morning, or if you're catching this on the replay, I hope you're having a good day. Welcome. My name is Michelle. I am joining from Amiskitchi, Waskahigan, Treaty 6 territory, Edmonton. Acknowledge this beautiful land that I get to call home. I'm originally from Treaty 4 territory, so even myself as an Indigenous person, I am a guest to these lands. So I'm just so appreciative of those who've walked before us, the Indigenous knowledge keepers, elders who've passed on their stories, their teachings, so that today we can walk and live in a good way. So I think it's always important to acknowledge the land in which you live on. Always take a moment throughout your day just to take that moment to acknowledge, and always take that moment to acknowledge the Creator. I try to do that every morning. It was a teaching that was passed on to me about a year ago. And one of the elders says, the first thing you should do when you wake up is say hello, say good morning to Creator. So I brought that into my practice, and I tell you, it does start my day off in a good way. So we give thanks to Creator for the gift of this day, for the gift of this virtual community. I so appreciate you all joining us, and I appreciate our guest speaker. So this is number 3. She had her first week she came on and she talked about, basically she took us back to the basics of business, small business, and it was really informative, really good knowledge. Last week she talked about research marketing, really good information to help just to build your brand and to build your business. And today, one of my favorites, and you know, as a person who has my own small business, I feel like this is an area that I'm perhaps a little bit weak on. So I am especially looking forward to today's topic, which is marketing tips for your small business. There will be an evaluation link sent to you at the end of today's presentation. Feel free and please fill that out. And when you do, your name will be entered in to win a draw. And I believe Ken won one of these gift cards. I think it's a $200 Visa gift card. He won one not too long ago. So woo, Ken, or $100 per winner. And I think we're making 2 draws. So you'll have an opportunity. So fill out that evaluation link. Today's session every Tuesday is brought to you by Cando, links to learning. So we just honor this amazing business that is providing these webinars, that's providing this opportunity to learn and expand our knowledge. All right, so the lovely Holly, who is joining us from the business link, she's the director of the Indigenous Services. She's joining us. She is Cree and Saulteaux from the Cowessess First Nation and Treaty 4, Saskatchewan, but calls Treaty 7 her home. So she's joining us from Calgary. She relies heavily on her fabulous team to provide assistance to Indigenous entrepreneurs in Alberta regarding the startup and expansion of their small businesses, connecting them to helpful resources, while also providing guidance, tools, and expertise, which is what she's bringing today. The Indigenous Service team facilitates workshops, hosts Indigenous-focused events, provides specific programming for Indigenous entrepreneurs and small businesses, and builds meaningful relationships in both rural and urban Indigenous communities. So she guides the team to success, maintains important relationships, which is what it's all about, and collaboration with partners, and ensures that every First Nation and Métis community in Alberta is aware of the services that are offered. So powerhouse today. Thank you so much, Holly, for joining us and again, lending us your knowledge and your expertise. This is week number 3. She's back again for another session next week, which we look forward to. So we're going to pass this virtual mic. You're going to share your tips on marketing tips for your small business. So welcome, Holly.
Thank you very much, Michelle. I always look so forward to Tuesdays now, and I will admit I'll be kind of sad when this is over next week. It will be the last week that I'm with Cando for now. Just so I can know, is everybody seeing the full screen or you're seeing the full screen? No. You're seeing the half a screen kind of thingy going on? Yes.
Yeah.
Let me swap that out. All right, are we good now?
Yeah.
Good now, perfect, thank you. Wonderful, okay, so I'm here today to talk about marketing tips for your small business. And I'm going to just do a quick overview of Business Link as well before we get started, because I didn't do it last week. And I know that we have some new faces joining us today. So I just want everybody to know who we are and what we do. And even though we are Alberta based, know that we have a lot of great resources that are available online. And many of our events, actually all of our events right now, are all online as well, because we're in this type of world now. So please, if you if you like the stuff that we're presenting on, come and see us and join some events and download our resources, because we have a lot of great things going on at Business Link. So thank you to Michelle for the land acknowledgement. I will also do our land acknowledgement for us at Business Link. We want to acknowledge that we are in the province of Alberta, and we are situated on the traditional territories of Treaties 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10, ancestral homeland of diverse First Nations groups, Métis and Indigenous peoples, whose ancestors have walked this land since time immemorial, and whose histories, languages, and cultures continue to influence our vibrant community. We pay respects to the Indigenous people of this land, past, present, and future, while recognizing their cultural heritage, beliefs, and relationships to the land on which we reside. I also hail from Treaty 4. I am in Mohkinstsis, Calgary, Alberta. Mohkinstsis is a Blackfoot word for where the elbow meets the bow. And this is my home, as well as I am a guest on this land. So I just want to acknowledge that while we get started. So who we are at Business Link. We are a nonprofit organization. We're known as a small business resource center. So every one of your provinces and territories has a small business resource center as well. We're called kind of sister organizations. So we have other organizations that offer the same types of things that we do at Business Link. But then in saying that, please know that we do have a lot of things available online. And we'll never say no that you're outside of Alberta and that you need some support or some guidance. Please reach out, and always reach out to myself as well for Indigenous Services. But essentially, we provide support for all businesses in Alberta. And our goal is really just to drive the growth and resilience of Alberta businesses. And within Indigenous Services, one of our main value propositions is to drive the growth and resiliency of Indigenous economic development. We help businesses start, run, and grow in every single stage of business. The only thing we can't do is give you money, because we're a nonprofit, but we can certainly find some places to send to you that you might be qualified to maybe get a loan or some financial support to get your business going, or to expand and run and grow your business. We do this through 3 separate streams. So of course we do, I'll just jump to number 2, business education. So we have presentations like this and the 4 that we've done with Cando, but we do have live webinars all the time, virtual workshops, online resources, some great networking events. We're going to have a really wonderful networking event on October the 20th. It's going to be an awesome forum looking to the future of Indigenous business and entrepreneurship and what that looks like in Canada. We also are going to have a really cool thing on September 28th. So if you're available, please join us. We're going to be launching a campaign that's a marketing campaign that's going to be available to all Indigenous businesses wherever you may be, and show you how to link some supports and some hashtags, and hopefully we can highlight your business as well. The other things that we do, we offer business advisory services. So we have some great business advisors on board that can help you in any part of your business. You just need some support, you need a questions asked, you really need some guidance through starting, running, growing. We can help you through all of those stages. And the other thing that we do is our business support services. So we had a whole presentation last week on market research, and we're drawing a little bit from that today, and just reiterate just a couple of things from that. But I do believe that is recorded as well, so you're able to watch that at your leisure. We do have an online interactive business plan builder as well. And those of you who may be an entrepreneur or starting a business, or many stages of business, maybe you're not even in entrepreneurship, about business plans, and that they're not always the funnest for all people. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible. And we have this online tool that you can fill in the blanks, save it, come back to it later. And at the end of it, you press submit and you have a completed business plan in the right template with all the information that you've input. So it's a really great tool. And then of course, all of our business and support training programs that we provide. Everything that we do for business advisory, if you call our 1-800 number, somebody's going to answer the phone. You're not going to get a recording. We have a live chat feature where you're actually talking to a person. So know that we have some amazing advisors on board to help you in anything that you really are looking for. And our secondary market research, of course, we went over this last week, but we have that available too. So please, if you need some secondary market research support, reach out and we can see what we can do for you. And always check online, businesslink.ca. You can sign up for our newsletter. We have a main newsletter. We also have an Indigenous newsletter that comes out once every 4 months, or once every 3 months, sorry, that just highlights all things that we're doing. We really like to feature Indigenous businesses as much as possible with our client features and our blogs as well. And then Indigenous Services team. So I'm just going to put a plug here. If you know of anybody in Alberta who you think would be a really good member of the Indigenous Services team, please let them know that we are hiring for Indigenous services at the moment. We just recently lost one of our advisors, so we're now down to a team of 2, when usually we're a team of 4. But we always, it's really funny because with Indigenous services, when we lose our staff, they go on to amazing things. We have 2 staff members that we've lost in the last couple of years that have gone on to serve on their chief and council as council members. So we're so honored that they've imprinted a footprint at BusinessLink. But if you know anybody, please, the posting is on our website, or just send them my way. Give them my email and let them know. The one thing I do want to mention here is our export readiness program. If you are looking to export amongst provinces or go across international borders, we have a really great program here that will help you get export ready. So another cool thing that we have offered. And then I just, of course, the interactive business plan builder that I had mentioned earlier. Lastly, if you are in Alberta or you know of an Alberta-based business, we do have a free online directory where you can post your business, all your marketing materials, links to your website or your Facebook, Instagram, which we'll be talking about more today. But it's a really cool tool that you also are able to filter. So you're able to disclose that you're a woman-owned business, that you're an Indigenous woman-owned business, that you're an Indigenous woman, LGBTQ2+ owned business. So it's a really cool interactive and manipulative tool that we can post for you to really showcase your business. Okay, so now that I did that, thank you for listening, and sorry for those that have heard that before, but please check us out and utilize us. We're just here for your success. That's all that we ever want. The agenda today. So we're going to go over quite a bit in the next 50-ish minutes. Elevator pitch, your customer journey, the 4 Ps of marketing, which you've probably heard before, target audience. We'll go back to market research a little bit and talk about your target audience, some SMART goals, social media marketing. Should you go into social media marketing? Probably we'll find out. Some common fears around social media and other forms of marketing. And then let's look at a social media marketing plan. Just want to caveat this by saying, if you have tips and tricks or you have anything that you want to add to this, please, by all means, unmute yourself, yell it out to the group. I think I'm able to see my chat, so we can definitely bring those in. But the more, as Michelle said, knowledge is key and knowledge is power, and we need to share that amongst each other all the time. And I am never going to say I'm the expert in everything. So please share what you know as well. All right, so an elevator pitch. You've probably heard of an elevator pitch before, but I always like to jump off with marketing with an elevator pitch and to really see exactly what your business does in the amount of time that it would take to ride an elevator. So if you were to get on an elevator with a group of people or one person, and you see this is an opportunity to market your business in a way that is effective and standing, and that you're able to condense it into this one statement, then you're well on your way to really developing what the brand, what the vision, what it is that you do, what is your value proposition as a business. So it boils everything down to just those couple of sentences that really communicates what it is that your business is. And sometimes you may have this experience as well, where you meet with somebody and you're trying to really find out what they're doing or what their business is, or you're trying to get to the point or the mission or vision or value proposition, and you just can't seem to get there, and you're having a long discussion, and you still walk away from that discussion going, I don't know what that person does, or I don't know what that business offers. This is exactly why I always like to start with the elevator pitch, because it gets that right out of the way. We know in this amount of time what you do and why it's lasting and why you're making an impression. So a very simple structure of this is, I am blank, I provide blank for blank, who my customers are, what my company's name is, what market I exist in, where I'm located, what my one key benefit is, and this is why I'm different. This is my value proposition that will differentiate me from my competition. So here is an example of one of our previous Indigenous Services employees who has gone on to do some amazing things in his career as well. I am Dale Schwab, and I provide a cleaning service for owners of high-end condos and apartments who require high security clearance. Executive Deluxe Cleaners is a cleaning company in Edmonton that has the highest insurance bond available in the market. Unlike high-end cleaners, the service will do a professional background check on all staff. I said that within 15 seconds. That's about as much time, if not more, that you would need to ride an elevator, right? And then now this opens it up for discussion. So if you can narrow this down to your elevator pitch and start from there and look at your value proposition and input it into your value proposition, then we've got a great foundation to start building on what marketing plan you should go forward with. So here is just a snapshot of this. If you want to take a picture quickly, or you already know this, but very simple structure for who the target audience is, who has that need, what is your product, where do you market you exist in, what's your key benefit, what makes you different from your competition, and why is your product unique. So now that we establish the elevator pitch, let's go into more of the customer journey as a whole. So I always like to look at the inverted kind of pyramid or triangle and start out big and then start to get narrow as you go down. So your goal is always to just deliver the right messages to the right people and at the right time. It's essential to communicate your brand consistently throughout your customer's journey. And from the discovery to the purchase to the after purchase support, and then hopefully that repeat business as well. So the key is to really understand at each point in this journey what the customer is hoping to achieve from the transaction and where their expectations of your business might be within that. So by referring back to your customers' personas, so when we looked at on last Tuesday about really defining who your target market is, you can start to build personas of what your customer may be. And it may be more than one, or it may be 2 or 3 really key customer personas or profiles that you're looking at, saying these are who your main target markets will be. Once you've really narrowed that down, then you can start to understand where that awareness is going to come in. So your awareness is going to start to generate the traffic and the brand awareness and the brand loyalty will come in, but start to establish a brand loyalty with your clients. And the way that you do this awareness, and I did mention this on Tuesday, is that sometimes business owners feel the need to be everywhere at once. You know, you have to be seen, you have to be seen. And we're going to go to the rule of 7 in a little while, and to kind of look at what that means. But that's, I think, where it stems from, is that you need to be seen so much in order for people to recognize and remember who you are as a business. So, but where that awareness sometimes can fail is when you're trying to do too many things at once, and you get spread a little bit too thin with your branding, with your messaging, with your voice, and who is actually being the end target of this awareness campaign. So when that happens, then you can get a little bit muddled, and you can start to get overwhelmed. And marketing is very overwhelming. And a lot of small businesses and large businesses and everything in between see this as it's a constant reiteration. It's a constant honing of skills and changing, because marketing changes. By the time I'm done this presentation, marketing will have changed. So it's something we're always trying to stay on top of, and it can get overwhelming. So just know who your target audience is. What do they want? What do they need? Is it important to them to have blog posts? Is it important to them to have things like an email marketing campaign, or social media or events? Are those important to your audience? Sometimes we hear, oh, that place spams me too much, so I've just put them on mute, or I've unsubscribed to their emails because that's just too much. So it's a very fine line to try and find exactly where your target market fits within this awareness. And it takes some caution and error, and then to try to do it again over and over, which can sometimes be a little overwhelming, but you'll get the right formula eventually. And so after you've kind of been aware of what it is that your direction that you're going to go in, you're going to want to start to evaluate and nurture. You're going to want to start to think about generating leads, looking at things like maybe you have to do some case studies, maybe you have to do some things like webinars or newsletters that really start to nurture those relationships that you've built through the awareness piece. So you've got you've started to build that brand loyalty with your customers. Now you're nurturing those relationships through constant evaluation. And then after you've done that, you can start to convert. So your conversion comes through the decision making. It starts to think about converting your followers, or those that are kind of been loyal to your awareness campaigns, or have been part of the nurturing process, starting to convert those individuals into clients. And some things like that, and you probably have all been privy to these as well, are like samples or demos or trials, right? It'll give you a 30-day trial and see how you like it, or we'll give you a buy one get one free coupon, or something like that, to try to, if you try it, you like it, and then you start to see the loyalty that might come out of that. So retaining those customers is where the loyalty really lies, and you are all guaranteed loyal to a particular brand or a particular business that you keep going back to, because you have that vested loyalty within that company or within that business. So anything like an updated product, or maybe tutorials or advocacy programs, or referral programs and things like that, where you're actually gaining those repeat customers. And through that, you're also have another marketing tactic where they're sharing with their network how great your product or service is, and they want to come to you. So this is kind of just the quick version of the inverted marketing customer journey triangle. The 4 Ps, and you've probably heard of these, and we're going to dive into them a bit more here. So really looking at your target market, those personas that you've built, right? And you know that these 1, 2, 3 customer profiles or customer personas are your target market. Now you want to feed the product, the price, the place, and the promotion into your target market to ensure that you're hitting all the 4 Ps at once for that group. So your product and service is really based in your branding, your services, your packaging, unique selling features. These are all things that are really key around marketing for your product. Your pricing strategy, of course, includes your prices of your products or services, maybe some discounts, packages, waived fees, etc. That might be more of a selling point to gain that loyalty and gain have that marker of making a decision to be a loyal customer come through. Your place strategy, of course, is where can people find you? Where can people find your products or services? How also are you going to distribute your products and services once that loyalty has been made, or once that those sales have started? What are the channels that you're actually going to get your product or service to your client? And it's funny because it's things that we sometimes might not think of, right? Like I've seen many kind of marketing promotional items or promotional strategies where a website wasn't listed, or like, how do I get that, right? Like, that's a really cool thing. How do I go about getting that? And one thing that I always think of too is I obviously love to support small businesses all the time. Indigenous owned small businesses are my jam, and I want to buy as much as I can from as many people as I can. But sometimes it's just the fact of we have a business we want to support, a small business that we want to support. They've showcased their product. It's beautiful. Now we want to know the price and the place. And they post maybe on Facebook and they say, up for sale, DM me for more information. And sometimes you go, oh, well, I don't have the time, right? We all live in such a busy time. That's like, just tell me how much it is. Take my money now. Just tell me how much it is so I can figure out how to buy it and then I can get it. And sometimes it's a deterrent. So it's really thinking, will your target market take the time to reach out and ask for the price, and how can I get it? Or is that something that you should put up front in your marketing journey? Your promotional strategy as well. So maybe advertising, your advertising tactics that you're going to look at. And should you be going traditional, or should you be going digital, or should you be doing both? And we'll talk more about those two different categories of marketing after. Any type of promotions or sales that you will be offering. So we see so many great things happen around Christmas time, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, back to school, right? Where there's like flash sale, back to school sale. And these are all things that we know that are target markets, because we've very much researched who they are and their buying habits and what their needs are. Now we want to feed them something that's really great and will work within their spending habits, and will make things convenient and easier for them, so that we are going to establish that loyalty and they're going to come back. And they're also going to do marketing for us through word of mouth. So just to break that down into this form, so your product really facing on what are you selling to your potential client? Is it a product or a service? And what does the branding packaging look around that from a marketing point of view? Your price strategy, how much are you selling it for? Also, how does this compare to similar products or services that are within the marketplace? How does this differentiate you? Where and how are you selling it? Is it a storefront? Is it a home-based? Is it online? These are all things to consider when it comes to the channels of how your customer is actually touching your product and purchasing. And then how will you let your potential client know that you are open for business? What is your promotional strategy around that? Sometimes it's very big and loud, and sometimes it's not, but it really depends on the target market that you're working with and who they are and what their needs are. So once we've really identified who our target market is, we've got that down to a T, we know who they are, where they are, how old they are, how much money they potentially make, what their hobbies are, what their interests are, all of the whole persona. You've painted the perfect picture of what you think your target market will be. Now you need to know, how am I going to reach them? How am I going to reach my target audience? What is it that I want to achieve once I reach them? And what is my budget? So all very, very important things. If you're looking at more traditional marketing, we want to think about, where are they physically going, right? Where are they physically located that you can actually have that touch point to reach them? What do you want them to do once you've actually had that communication with them and they know who you are? What is it that your goal is going to be? What do you want to achieve from that? Is it to just bring awareness as that overall awareness campaign, or is it to potentially make a sale? Sometimes businesses are going to start this kind of reaching out to target audiences well before they even have a product or service to sell. They're just starting that awareness piece so that once they are ready to sell, or they have, a fully completed line of products, or they've really narrowed down their services, now they can reach out with ease because they've already built that target audience, and they've already had those touch points. So you just want to be very clear about what you want to achieve by that. And then what's your budget? If you're a small business and entrepreneur, chances are you have a pretty small budget for a lot of things, which is good. I'm one to always say, like, start with what you have and then see what you need when you need to get there. But what is your budget? How much money do you have to spend? What is realistic? And how are you actually going to maybe reach out to some people, some resources, or some tools that maybe don't cost an arm and a leg, right? Marketing is such a big facet. It's such a large area that there's so many things that you can easily spend a lot of money on. So what are the ways that we can utilize some great free and low cost resources that are out there, and maybe some really amazing Indigenous businesses that we can support that can take this on for us if this isn't our forte? Because I think I mentioned at one of I think it was our first session, we're not always good at everything, and we shouldn't be, right? We should be good at what we're good at and let the people that are good at those other things do those things. So how does that fit into the business operations itself and the budget? Because it ultimately does come down to the finances at the end of the day. Okay, so we talked about traditional marketing and digital marketing. So I'll do a quick rundown of these things, and then also just caveat this again by saying it's always changing, right? Marketing is always changing on a daily basis. Things pop up that our amazing marketing team go, I've never heard of that. I don't know what this tool or resource is, but cool. Let's look into it. So your traditional marketing is definitely still a place for this. And depending on who your target market is, it's important to really understand that it may be needed for what their needs are as your target market and how they like to be communicated with. And sometimes it's not an email that is the best way of communicating with your particular target market. So it's important to understand that the marketing in itself has the most impact when it's delivered in different types of layers, because we are so inundated with different messages constantly, right? We're looking at we're privy to so many outlets now that it can get overwhelming, and things can get lost relatively quickly and all of that. So it does take that repetition, but then again, there's that fine line of where does it end and where does it begin, that I don't want to spam people, but I also don't want to be irrelevant. So that rule of 7 that I talked about earlier is something that is a belief that you have to see something 7 times before you take action to buy that. So whether that be through all the different forms of traditional or digital marketing that you're looking at, you may not know of a particular business until you've seen it, heard it, or listened to it, or whatever the case is, 7 times. So that's kind of where we get a little bit of maybe spread too thin with small businesses. They want to be everywhere because they're thinking of this rule of 7. But then at the same time, it's like you've spent all this time and energy and potentially money in putting together these great marketing plans. But is it realistic that it's going to reach your target market? So some of the traditional mediums for marketing that you can possibly employ if your target market is looking at these things are things like anything print. Business cards are really cool. I don't know how much we're handing out business cards anymore. A digital business card has been something that's been floated around quite a lot in entrepreneur and corporate worlds. So maybe that's something to look at. But business cards are, I mean, simplest form of marketing, traditional marketing, but until March of 2020, it was something that was still very much utilized. I'll show you, like right here in front of me. This is just one. I have like 10 of these. And these are just business cards of people that I have met throughout my career. And I just have them here still. So absolutely a great investment to have business cards if that's where you're going to see the need to hand them out. Things like direct mail campaigns, I did mention about last week with, how much does your target market really look at direct mail? How much do they open their mail and really look at every piece of mail? Some target markets do look at every piece of mail. So if that is your target market, maybe that's the route for you. If I'm your target market, that's not the route because my stuff goes right into the recycling bin before I even go inside. So looking at if that's the right opportunity for you. Things like advertising and maybe editorials or newspapers, if your target market's looking at the newspaper, newsletters. If you're more media savvy, maybe it's press releases, maybe public relations, things like that, depending on the type of business that you have. That might be like I'm thinking more of like a really service-based business. That might be something that you're really interested in. And events. If you have brick and mortar, there's open house. You have an open house. You have a grand opening. You have special events. You have VIP nights. You have trade shows. And then your networking opportunities. Maybe it's more around your associations or clubs. Maybe you're an engineer and you're part of the, is it a PEGA, the Engineering Association of the World kind of thing. So maybe that's one of the things that's really important. When you're looking more on a digital scale, it can be much more affordable than traditional marketing, absolutely. If you use it more frequent, and it's more frequently used than traditional marketing nowadays. But it includes things such as email newsletters, e-newsletters, direct chat functions, any type of maybe webinars or mobile, and then of course your social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Snapchat, TikTok, all of the great things that are out there nowadays that we'll go over in a bit more detail. And then paid online ads are really great if you can afford them and you have really narrowed down your target market. Your Google ads are really cool. So if you're looking on a random, this happens to me sometimes, I'm looking on a random page and all of a sudden, like a business link ad pops up with my face on it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what? So that's interesting. But so that happens and it's really, really cool. So if you really narrowed it down, you can take advantage of your Google ads. Absolutely. So with setting strategies and goals, of course, setting goals is absolutely essential to your marketing strategy. There are often the main place that you will start when starting to develop your marketing strategy, figuring out what goals are set in the direction for what needs to happen for your product or service to do well in the market. And they're also the foundation of the plan that you're going to build to get there. So business plan, foundation for your business. Marketing plan, foundation for your marketing. And it plugs directly into your business plan. So the purpose of your marketing is really to reach your target audience and communicate the benefits of your product so that you can successfully acquire and keep and grow your customer base is the most pivotal piece of the marketing strategy. Your marketing goals really must relate to the specific business objectives that your company wants to achieve. And then looking more at a top-down type of hierarchy, like we had looked at in the inverted triangle, really showing that the strategy in that kind of sequence, and then showing the impact that the marketing has on each level. So you want to set SMART goals, which we'll get into in your next slide, but start thinking about what exactly your goals will look like in the long term. implementing them into the key elements of the marketing plan as a whole, and then developing the strategies to reach each type of goal that you've set out. And your goals should always align smartly. So let's go. Your SMART goals are an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So your specific goals are the goals that you define that communicate your priorities. And it is important that you are setting these for the revenue and success of the brand of your business. Your measurable goals are matching your business targets or your key performance indicators with your marketing goals. And it's much easier to measure and communicate that success when you have a goal in mind. You have an actual number, you have a dollar amount, you have a percentage. So I want to grow my business 3%. I want to grow my revenue $10,000 in year 2. So these are very, very measurable. But in saying that, you also want them to be attainable. So you want to be able to use any kind of date to figure out whether your goals are attainable or not. So if you are looking at, say, a 10% increase in revenue generation, you want to be able to understand how that relates to your marketing plan. So in order for you to generate 10% more revenue, you maybe need 20% more increase in your marketing campaigns, or your increase in subscribers to your email, where you're looking at seeing the return on investment for that marketing into the actual revenue generation of your business. So you have kind of those things set out. You're very specific. You have a KPI attached. You have dates. You have percentages. It's attainable. And now looking at being a realist. Is it realistic? And is it timely? Is it you're setting that time frame of year 2, month 3 in order to achieve these specific, measurable, and attainable, realistic goals. So you have a kind of an end date, and it's okay if it doesn't happen, right? You just know that you can change and that you can make it more smart in the future. So it's all a learning curve. Okay, so now that we've kind of got that foundation down, going to get into social media marketing and why you need it. In a nutshell, social media marketing are techniques that target social networks and applications to spread brand awareness or promote a particular product or service. Very simple. It's not so simple though, because yes, absolutely, you should utilize social media. Chances of your target market being on social media are probably in the 99th percentile. I was seeing the other day that someone had asked on a cool blog that I follow, like, how many people do you know anybody who doesn't have access to internet? And there were quite a few people who said yes, but they were like 75 and above. So they were elderly. And then a few people had said, hey, my grandparents are on social media and they're in their 80s and they're very adept. They love using it. And I'm in the same boat. My Coco is on social media. She's on Facebook and she's a whiz. She loves it. And she's 86. So you want to just really understand what your target market is if they're utilizing it. But absolutely, I think social media having some sort of channel is needed. Your audience is there. Over 2.6 billion people used social media in 2017. So that number has increased dramatically since 2017. We're now in 2021. And I'll just say we get our information from a couple resources that this is the most current information that is available in this market research area of social media, which is funny. I think they're working diligently on getting some more reports done. But in some databases that we pulled just recently for 2018 was the most recent numbers. Almost 70% of Canadians are actively using social media on a regular, everyday basis. And this is just a plug to our social or to our market research, because this is exactly the information that we pull from our databases. So this just gives you a quick snapshot of what the social media users look like in 2018. This has changed because now we have things like TikTok. Instagram has went huge in the past couple of years. Facebook, of course, is kind of staying pretty good. But there are tons of these social media networks that pop up consistently. And sometimes your knee-jerk reaction is, I got to get on all of them. But then we just have to sit back and go, is the target market there? So let's evaluate that first. You want to look at, of course, the audience. So just thinking of these three major platforms that you could potentially advertise for your small business are Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram. I will add TikTok into this as well now because TikTok has taken off. We have a TikTok account now. I'm really excited about it, but Business Link has one. So cool, goes viral, amazing things. People have just, their businesses have taken off because of social media. Instagram is your best friend as an entrepreneur. Hashtagging and it's really quite a great community and a supportive community that's out there. So your Snapchat, if you are very much looking at an age demographic between a target market of 12 to 17, you want to go try out Snapchat. Facebook, of course, we know it's like the new newspaper. So ages 22 to 54, but it's like a staple, right? You can even buy on Facebook now, like they have the actual opportunity to sell your products directly on Facebook and have that monetary transaction through Facebook, which is really, really interesting. And then, as I said, Instagram is the second most popular among ages 22 to 54, but in my experience, especially within the Indigenous small business world, Instagram is where it's at for promoting and gaining followers and gaining that loyalty of your target market. So, of course, you want to choose the best that works for you. Not simply how many users that are on there, because Facebook has the most, but maybe that's not the case, that you really want to upload a business page or really market on Facebook. That's a bad example. Let's use LinkedIn, for example. Maybe it's LinkedIn that you shouldn't be using because your target market isn't there looking to purchase. You want to look at the really quality and consistency of your posts, because those two matter. You, of course, don't want to spam. There's that fine line, right? But having that tone and voice consistency, even time of day, etc., that you're able to engage with your business, engage with your target market. Your business is able to really showcase what they do in a way that's meaningful to your target market and your end user. And you want to be able to also think about interacting with not only your customers, but the community as a whole, building results, not forgetting about business to business as well, because it's I think mentioned last week as well was that you can have really great relationships with competitors, right? And even though they are your competition, you maybe logistically can't take on all the work, but you're able to then refer your clients to your competitors and have a great mutually beneficial relationship back and forth. And this is a really great way to ensure that you're optimizing those marketing and advertising and promotional results through those business to business interactions. Or if you're a business to business, of course, you want to never forget about your target market of those businesses. Okay, common fears around social media. It can definitely be an effective marketing tool, but a lot of the time people may be very reluctant to begin using it. I just don't know where to start. I don't have the skills or knowledge and training. I don't have the time. So I'll give you a few pointers on that. My word of advice is, of course, find out where your customers are, where your target market is. Start there and then build upon that. And of course, we know marketing never stays the same. It's not stagnant. It will change every single day. So we want to be on top of it as much as possible. But no, if we don't have the skills and training, there are tons of resources out there. One of them that is one of my particular favorites is called the Social School. It's so cool. And that's really lame that I just rhymed that, but it's a really neat place that you can look at that is that offers amazing online training for social media marketing and all different types of marketing. So definitely give that a look if you want to really hone your skills in it. If not, of course, know that there are great businesses out there that can do this, great Indigenous owned businesses that are marketing wizards and geniuses that can take this work on for you. And then save you that lack of time and save you the, having to be on top of it all the time, because it is a lot, I will admit. Don't get too bogged down by needing to learn like everything at once. It will come. It's just, get on there, open an account, try to have it a standalone account from your personal account. If applicable, you want to have your own life too. So sometimes it's hard to have both, and create the same, image and voice across the board when you're mixing both of those platforms. But sometimes it works. Sometimes you're the image of the business and you need to be synonymous with the business. So it really, really depends. Social media apps are always changing. They're always intuitive. They're always up to date, and they're adding new things. So just learning them and knowing that if you don't know everything, that's okay. Google, of course, is your best friend. They've got some great things right now. Google Analytics are continuing to do really great things. And your time is important. I think I've mentioned this, my time with you is that you definitely, your time has a dollar amount attached to it, right? So when you're spending all of this time and effort doing marketing and that's not your forte, you're essentially wasting some time that you could be spending on, some things that are making products, or you're delivering services that you're really good at. So you got to plan, absolutely. Narrow down which channels to choose, how much money you have to spend. If you don't have any, that's okay too. What type of content are you wanting to create, and is it actually working? Of course, you want to really have a brand, a logo, a business name, all of those things attached. You want to think about things like colors. Are your colors consistent? Are you using the same font across the board? I see some posters that have like 20 different types of fonts on them, and it really bright colors, so it's like, whoa, that's really gives me kind of a little bit of a headache. Maybe 2 fonts is good, maybe 3 at the most, but just being really hyper aware of those things. When you see branding that's really clean cut and really straight to the point, not too messy or all over the place, that really draws you in just as a consumer, right? So you want to come and emulate some of those things that you've learned throughout your journey as a customer, because we've been there for how long. You need to, of course, make a plan. Your plan in your marketing plan. You have a marketing plan, and you have a social media plan that plugs into your marketing plan, that plugs into your business plan. Lots of planning. So always planning. Building that social media plan. If you haven't already, please do your research. Primary and secondary. You need to know these things. You need to know your area, your geographical area, your operational out of, where your target market is geographically. Is it city? Is it urban? Is it urban? Is it rural? Where are you, in one province? Are you across the country? What are those demographics again? Age, gender, occupation, behaviors, beliefs, any kind of personality traits that you might want to really look more into, lifestyle choices, etc. So you want to get really pinned down, and your target market will generally remain consistent, but your target audience might differ. So you might introduce new products and services, or you might change a brand, or you might, there's lots of things that your business will be fluxing constantly. So your target audience might change. The target market at the end result will probably stay generally consistent once you've really pinned that down. And some really great information to think about too is when you've found out who your current customer is and who your target market is, using some Google Analytics as well, and within that are kind of built into your social media accounts. So there's some really cool integration that you can do to really keep track of who are those posts reaching, how many clicks do you get out of them, how many of those are attrition rates, are actually making sales or doing bookings out of those clicks that are getting, and where are they coming from and what time. So then you understand, oh, I should really put that Google ad out at 11 p.m. on weeknights, because I know that I'm the target market, looking on my social media at 11 o'clock at night while I'm laying in bed, and I'm making purchases that I shouldn't be making, but I'm like, hey, I really need that. I'm going to get that right now. So kudos to whoever is targeting me, because they're making money 11 o'clock at night. Here are just some things to look at for yourself. Defining and document your target market based on your research. You can consider, these are links here to create a persona of your target market. You know where they are, what they do, where they hang out. And there's also a really great infographic from Tracks that is linked here, that you can start to see the macro and micro pictures of your target market. An audit, a social media audit, is always important, to look over and see, what am I doing? Should I still be doing this? Should I still have this account? I haven't posted on here in 2 months. Should I leave that and let it go? There's a great tool called Social Sprout, and as well as Hootsuite. So these, if you haven't heard of these, are quite wonderful, and they keep all of your social media accounts in one platform, and you're able to post and send out that post, and it automatically posts to all of your social media accounts at the same time. So it's actually a pretty cool. Are they free? No, thank you. That's a good point. I think there are free versions, but to get the optimal results, I would suggest carving out a bit of the marketing budget to put towards some of these resources. You're welcome, Bridget. Instead of doing it all yourself, because remember, that's the thing. Instead of using all your time and energy posting to every single one of your social media accounts and doing the same post over and over, you spend, I think it's about $15 to $20 a month for a Hootsuite account, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me, I don't know for sure, but instead of spending that amount and just having it done, at one time, and it has saved a lot of time and energy for a lot of businesses. When you're doing a competitive analysis, you also want to review your competitors' social media. So sometimes they may be, doing some really great things, and you like, what's going on there? I don't know. So just doing that quick analysis, analyzing their content, their engagement, etc. Because if they're your competition, especially when you're starting out, if your competition is doing something a specific way, chances are they've done a lot of research and trial and error to get to that point. So of course this will change as time goes, but you just also want to see, what you can take away from that as well. So you can always do a more in-depth analysis as well from that Sprout Social that it was just on the previous page, has a great guide to ensuring that all of those are met.
Ow.
And I think, let me just check here. Okay. So your brand, voice, and persona, based on your branding documents, you have your brand's personality. What words would you use to describe it? What is your voice? So you want to kind of keep it to a few keywords that would describe your brand of your business, and the persona. If your business had a voice, what would it sound like? What would it be? What would it say? Budget. Please ensure that you have, your budget figured out. You may have to hire somebody, or you may want to utilize all the great free services that are there. So just thinking about budget, time, etc. And we went over kind of the posting too much and posting too little. So some great general standards and experiments that you may need to take into consideration when doing that. And here's a great checklist on the how-tos, the content, case studies, charts, etc. Gives you a great overview of all of the different things that would be relevant to your business and how to utilize them. Also taking into consideration your market research, because a lot of these are surveys and polls and etc. So I have just a couple more slides that have been reiterated already. We've kind of talked about them, but I do just want to open it up here. I know we're like 2 minutes over time, and I appreciate you staying. If you have, thank you very much. It's never enough time, I feel like, but I just want to share this last slide with you so that you have our information. Ooh, come back here. There we go. Oh, you guys are seeing it. Okay. This is our information here at Business Link. We do have a wonderful, oh, that's not the right one. Sorry, guys. I'm making a mess. Okay, you know what? Let's just go right to the end quickly here. Sorry. I'm all done. If anybody has any questions right now, please let me know. And as I mentioned, thank you for staying a little bit longer. I really appreciate it. We do have an online marketing guide at businesslink.ca, and that is of course available for download. You just have to make an account, which is free of charge, absolutely. And we have a lot of really great marketing, not just marketing, a lot of really great downloadable business guides that you can fill in the blanks and stuff. So if this is interesting to you and you want to hone your marketing skills a bit more, download those or reach out to me. This is our information at Business Link, but thank you so much for joining. Sorry, I was three slides short, but I just want to be cognizant of your time as well. So thank you very much.
That's really good. Round of applause for Holly for bringing some really valuable information. Really, you've really encouraged clarity in what we want to promote in our business and our branding. So really good presentation. Really, I feel like I have some things to do, even the SMART goals, and I bring those into my business, but not in a business plan sense. So I really appreciate, because I work off of SMART goals. I love that.
Awesome.
So bringing that into the business and helping that be a good foundation. So really good. Everybody's just saying thank you for the information and the presentation. It was great. Good job. So we just acknowledge you and the gift that you bring to build us up and to empower us in our businesses. But any questions before we go? Any comments before we move on, carry on with our day? I think that just goes to say how thorough you were in your information and in your presentation. So thank you so much, Holly.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle.
What's next week? What's our last session?
Next week, we're going to go over financing 101. So we're going to talk about how to get some money to start your small business, or not, depending what we come up with out of that. But yeah, we're going to talk all about money next week, and hopefully share some really great information with you all and your entrepreneurial journeys.
Awesome. And I think that that's such an important topic. So I hope to see you here next week. Pass it on to any colleagues or anybody who you know is starting a small business, who is involved in a small business. Is really valuable information. Invite them to come to this session. So thank you, everybody. Somebody did ask about the slideshow, and we will email that out to everybody who's here, so you can check, really valuable information. So thank you so much for joining us. We just honor your time, and we honor that you've joined our virtual circle here at Cando. So thank you all. Have a good rest of the day, and peace be with you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. See you all.